Erik Refner es un fotógrafo danés galardonado en 5 ocasiones por WordPress Photo. El profesional se ha desempeñado en reportajes sobre conflictos armados, moda y retratos, en publicaciones como Time y New York Times Magazine. También ha incursionado en el contexto audiovisual, con distintos tipos de obras. Refner ha desarrollado su carrera profesional en países como Afganistán, Irak, la República Democrática del Congo y Dinamarca. En UNIACC, Refner ofreció una conferencia y desarrolló, en colaboración con Start-Up Chile, un workshop de fotografía, el que estuvo dirigido a egresados de Periodismo y Comunicación Audiovisual.
I didn't dare to start photography because I was too afraid of touching photography because I thought it was very difficult. So, but when I was around 28, I had a good friend who was a fashion photographer, and he needed an assistant. And then I offered my help, and I started as an assistant as a fashion photographer. Early in my career, I've been focused in war zones. I don't focus in war zones anymore. I have a kid now, so I'm not going that often to war zones anymore. But in the start, when I was being a photographer, because I was fascinating about to test myself also as a photographer, also as a person, if I could handle the mental pressure. That's one of the part I did it, and another part was that I've also been very political motivated always in my life. I want to make a difference, and of course in these places there's possibility of making a difference. My first assignment in war zones, I think, if you can say, in Afghanistan under the Taliban regime in 2000. That was my first war zone experience, and I must say that was a very heavy place for the first time, for sure. I was a bit anxious and very afraid of what's going to happen if I could handle the mental pressure. I was on my own in Afghanistan in 2000 under the Taliban regime, yes. But I did a lot of research before I went there, and I had contacts and so forth, so everything I could plan was planned. I have a military background as well, so I'm very good at planning, and so there's nothing is left to the imagination. Taking photos of children suffering is also always extremely difficult and very heartbreaking. So that I would say that is some of the worst. Of course, if also when I took a photo of a young father has to bury his young son, only 1 year old, that was a horrible experience as well. I have a true belief that I can make a difference, and that's what keeps me going, even though it gets very, very tough. Then, of course, that knowing that I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm doing this actually to help these people and get awareness about their situation. This is what motivates me and keep me going. I had one experience when I was in Finland in minus 30 degrees, and I was standing with huge jacket on and gloves and stuff, seeing a man walking naked in the local river with only gloves on. That was pretty remarkable moment. I couldn't really understand how that could happen, but I mean, he's from Finland, so I guess he's used to it. I will describe myself as a storyteller. I mean, and that can be in film, it can be in still images, it can be in writing. I mean, I write as well, so for me, it's all about telling stories and trying to do it as good as possible. I won 5 prizes in WordPress Photo, and I won the first one, the biggest WordPress Photo of the year. I won when I was a student working in the Danish School of Journalism. Of course, that was like I mean, you cannot imagine how much attention suddenly there was on my person. It was like winning an Oscar. So So for that has been tremendous good for me, because it's put a lot of attention to my work. A lot of newspapers, a lot of magazines were suddenly interested in my work, and it's kind of boosted my career 10, 15 years ahead. I mean, if you're interested in taking pictures or making movies, I mean, as long as you have if you're passionate and you want to do it, and I mean, that's always been my motto. I mean, and when I decide to do something, I do it like 110%. There's no going around. And what I would say to people is that if they really want it, they just go for it and work your ass off. My Start-Up Chile project is about securing photographers' copyright on the internet. You see more and more violations on the internet. People are using photographers' images on commercial websites. And our idea is that we want to go out and fight for the protection, and we will make sure that the photographer get paid what the commercial websites owe them. I experience a big problem that commercial websites are using my images all the time, and it's being more and more illegal violation of my images, and I see it more and more, and that's why I want to start to take up the fight, and so photographers can get the money that they deserve. I mean, knowing language, English or Spanish or whatever, is of course always very, very a good thing. I mean, especially if you want to travel around the world, it's important that you can make yourself understandable. And knowing English has helped my work in a way, of course, that I can communicate in person with people I interview or talk to, that I don't have to go through an interpreter. Of course, that's giving a much more personal experience. I think for people, for the students here in this university, I think they have to be very happy, because it looks like a really nice university, and I think they have all the tools they need to be able to go out there and test themselves in photography or in writing or whatever it is, or music or whatever. So they should just be very grateful and just work a lot.